Hello! Welcome to my first video of how to make a 2D game. In this video I'm going to show you the basic game loop, and then we can just keep adding to it to make whatever game we want. So it's the first video, so we're going to literally just start with a new blank project, but first I'm going to show you quickly what I mean. Just give you some examples. So let's go to recent, use this one. Now recording software is going to make it much slower than it would normally run at, because I want it, decent quality so you can see the text. But let's just see what happens. Yeah, low FPS at the moment, but that's fine. But you can get an idea that we've got a little loop going, and then it's created some platforms, created a player. We can move the player and change whatever values we want. So there we go. And let's show another one. Oops, open project. Let's do this one. So this is more like a real-time strategy type thing. It's using A-star pathfinding. We can like move guys around, and yeah. Right. So it gives you an idea. It's using the same game loop. We can just keep adding to it, and eventually, you can just put in whatever you want. There's quite a lot of stuff in there, and yeah, come up with a cool game. So let's start, shall we? Right, so you want a new project. This is what it looked like when you start up. So the first thing we need to do is load in all our functions and stuff we're going to use. So don't panic when I start adding in modules, because I'm going to make another video on exactly what modules we're all going to be using, and then you can just go find that video and just create your own modules. And it also gives you, the reason why I'm putting in another video, it's just gives you a good idea of why and exactly how they work, instead of just copy and pasting them in. Okay, so we're going to need, not a new one, well we will need a new one, we'll keep that. That's going to be our module main. So that's our main module. That will need a submain in it, right? But we'll leave that for now, because we also need a module existing, and we want our API, which is just some functions there. So we've got our bitblip, it's our main thing. It's got get key state, and other useful stuff we might need along the way. So I like to put it all in there. Another one we use is our time module, which is going to just lock our frame rate. Basically, it's just used to keep time of the frames, and that should be it. The last thing we need to do is add in a class for our buffer. So let's find it up here somewhere. Classes and class buffer. So basically this just holds information on the buffer when you load it in, and it also lets you print it onto a form or picture box depending on what we're going to be using. Ignore that. Okay, so now what do I want to do? Right, so let's go to our sub main, and let's start with option explicit, and now put in our variables. So we're going to be needing, let's see, we're going to needing our FPS, so public FPS as a integer. We're going to be also wanting our buffer with class buffer, so buffer as new class buffer. And finally, we just need something for our width and the height of the screen. So we'll say public screen size as a vector, which is x and y. So before we do anything, we just need to set that. So screen size.x equals 600, and screen size.y also equals 600. Right. So let's put some remarks in exactly how this is going to go. So we need to create the buffer. We need to initialize the form. So set up the form. Set up the timer, and then run the game loop. So let's just do it in order. So creating the buffer is easy enough. You just say buffer dot, and then you use that class to use this. And it wants a width and a height. So you just use screen size x, screen size y. So that's simple enough. So it's going to create a buffer 600 by 600. we need to set the form up. So to do that, we shall use another sub, public sub, initialize form, and by reference, we're going to chuck in the form main. So a form as a form. So now we can literally say initialize form, and then pass in, well, we don't want to call it form 1, we call it form main. There we go. So we just say pass in form main. That'll go into here as FRM. So we say with FRM, and basically we don't know what with statement is. It's anything in the with block becomes FRM, like form. So you can say dot scale mode, for example, equals 3, setting the scale mode to pixels. And then we just need to use the width equals screen size dot x. But because even so the scale mode is in 3, that's everything inside, you still need to, when you're doing the width and the height, it's in like trips. So we need to times the pixels, that's 600 pixels, by the screen dot trips per pixels. Okay, so we'll just do the same for the height. So these values are the same for now, but they could change, so let's just do that. So height equals screen size dot y and screen trips per pixel y. Right, so that's sized our form. I'm just going to quickly increase the height a little bit. Equals dot height plus 1000, which just gives us a little gap between the buffer, just so we can put any information down at the bottom. It's good for diagnosing. So once you've like done the height and all that, you can do dot show, which just brings it up. So now our form is set up. So we're already getting there. Setting the time up is easy enough as well. We just use this function here, and basically it will just set the counter function, and then it will just use lock frame rate to keep it to a certain frame rate. So let's just do that. So let's set the time up. So it's initialized it, and let's run the game loop. So chuck in public sub game loop. And one more thing we want to put in at the bottom here, I always put it at the bottom, is unload data. Oh, public sub unload data. What this is just so you can safely exit the program. So we just put end, but then we also want to delete any graphical data and stuff we got. So we got our buffer.dc, so buffer.hdc, direct context. So when you initialize it, it creates one, so you just need to delete it. So it's all safely unloaded. So that's all that's sorted. So now we just need to run our game loop. Let's do it. So right, we need to have a boolean. So dim finish as boolean, and then do loop until finish equals true, which in this case, when you dim it, it starts as false, so it's never going to equal true. It's just going to get stuck in this loop. So the first thing we want to do is do events, just so it gives Windows opportunity to do stuff, so it doesn't get like locked down and crash. And then we're going to lock the frame rate before you start the next loop. So lock frame rate at 60. Now every time we loop round, we want to calculate our FPS, so we just say FPS equals FPS plus 1. So now we've got a simple loop, we've got the basics there. No graphical stuff is happening yet in our loop, but we'll put it in a minute. But before we do anything, we just need to create a timer in here. Do a second. Now just a note, when you use timers, they're not 100% accurate, so it'll get as close as it can to 1,000 intervals, but it's not exactly a second. So it's just a good thing to note, but it's really easy to just chuck in a timer for like diagnosing problems or just to check our FPS or something like that. So we can say timer FPS, and just literally put read.caption was FPS. So it checks what the frames per second is after a second, and then we just say equals 0. Sorted, so that's done for that. So now we play, we have our, and it doesn't actually do anything. Oh, that's nice. Oh, well, we'll figure out things later. We're adding a few more bits. I'll tell you why. I actually know why. So project 1 properties, started object, but it's a sub main. I was thinking that's weird because it didn't even initialize a form. It didn't even size the form, so obviously it hasn't even gone through sub main. Yeah, so now it'll go through all this and it'll set everything up, and then it'll run a game loop, and then it'll calculate. So take my word for it, because we're adding our buffer, our graphics now. So buffer's like the screen. Reason why I call it buffer is because you print everything to the buffer before you print it to the screen. So then you got like one frame. So the buffer is literally just going to clear. So we use fill buffer VB red, just make it nice and clear that we're doing that for now. And then we're going to print onto a form and use form main. And there we go. So press play. Sized it. It's got an FPS going, and it's 600 by 600 thereabouts. It actually, if I extend it, yeah, because of the this border here. So if you really wanted to be accurate, you could create a width and just add in a bit of a border, but it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, so that's constantly printing now. Every time it goes around, it's going around at, well, around 35 frames a second. So trouble is now, we've got no way to enter any keystrokes, so there's no way to actually exit this loop, which means we can't exit and unload things safely. So we've got this unload data set, but we can't access it in our loop. What we need to do is end, but that means it didn't delete DC, so that's not good for, you know, memory and all that. So we need to add in a check keys module. So we just say, well, sub really. So we just say check keys. Right, now let's go create it. So add in a new module. Let's go to, new. Go module check keys. And then the public sub check keys. And in here, we just want to say if get key state VB key escape and constant, so we're just going to use key down. Then, and if the reason why I use a constant, because get key state cannot be 1 or 0, so we just use a big minus constant, so we say constant key down equals minus 1000. There we go. And then we say, right, so if VB key escape has been pressed, then unload data. You can see how things coming together now. And then in here, we can just put the rest of our keystrokes, you know, left and right, jump and all that. So, yeah, it's all come together. So it's all ready to start, because now we can like add in, you know, whatever you want to put into game mechanics, and then add in graphics. So you can add in like your platforms and stuff. So does your game mechanics, then once everything's been set, then you print it onto the buffer, and the buffer will print the whole frame. So I'm just checking for keys, so I can just press escape now, and it goes to unload data. Cool. Right, I feel like that was a bit fast. I might have been talking a bit fast, but I think it's quite simple enough to follow through. And if you just, I mean, I can copy and paste this into a paste bin thing, so you can just like copy and paste this yourself, or you can just follow along with me and pause if it gets a bit too quick. But yeah, basically, I hope it's not too difficult. It shouldn't be, but a really good way when I was learning the program. or when I'm diagnosing now, is to just find the processes. So we know it starts from submain. So the program starts here. This is the first thing that happens. It sets the screen size. Not 100% true. It obviously sets all the functions and stuff. Anything outside submain it sets. But it will set up the screen size, declare it. But then this is like the main bit of code. So you can just start here. You press play. So it's the first thing it does. It sets screen size X. You press F8. It just goes line by line, and initializes the buffer. That pops into the class. So it just sets everything to what it should be. So these are now 600. So it's passed in the screen size values, and it's now going to create a bitmap, the size of those values, which is another function. So it creates a bitmap, and yeah, initialize form which we made. So it's just doing the sizes and shows it, and then starts the timer, etc., etc., and then eventually comes with our game loop. Now it doesn't seem anything amazing at the moment, but when we start putting things in, it might start be a bit more interesting, especially like tiles where you're putting in a whole big background. Oops, should press escape then. Right, it doesn't matter. Okay, cool. Anything else to show you for the first video so you will understand exactly what you can start making? Because some cool stuff. Let's do testing tiles. Just randomly showing you stuff now. Print. Oh yeah. So there's tiles, I guess. Man, you can have it like this. I don't know what any of this stuff does. Oh, right. Okay, so let's focus on the game loop, shall we? Right. So I'll see you in the next video. We're going to be adding in. I don't know. What should we make, a platform or a real-time strategy game? Or yeah, platformers are I think more fun because you can create like platforms, and it's just, I don't know, it just feels like it's more fun. Where's this one? Basically it's something like this, and you have your platformer, and you can start like, yeah, just create your platforms, and just do a lot more stuff with it. You can just add in so much stuff into a platformer. What's going on with my phone? Right, so we're pretty much done here. I shall see you in the next video. Right, bye bye.